Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to Midnight Sports Talk. I'm Brock, and I'm here with a very special guest. He is a cornerback out of Marlin, Texas, who played at the University of Hawaii from 2009 to 2011. He was a part of Cal Lee's defense in 2009 and a member, an integral part of Dave Aranda's defense in 2011. Since leaving the University of Hawaii, he's gone on to participate in coaching, player development, and also taking care of his three wonderful sons. We're here to talk about his time in Hawaii, how he got there, and what he's been doing since. Welcome to the show, Tank Hopkins. How are you doing?
How you doing, man? I'm doing good. Appreciate the intro.
No problem. So let's just jump right into it. What have you been up to since leaving school?
Man, just staying in shape, keeping these kids in shape, and just working, man. Player development around here with these kids. I feel like the knowledge that I know, I'm selfish if I keep it to myself. So I like to spread it to the youth and for anybody else that's needed.
Yeah, absolutely. And you have a wealth of knowledge. Not only did you play at the highest level you could for any person at Division One football, your journey there is also one that's very inspiring and consisted of a lot of hard work, which you're about to jump right into. But first, I want to talk about prep football. Since you made your first mark at the prep level in Texas, there's a lot of debate going on between the levels of prep football in Texas, Florida, California, Georgia. Who has the best high school football? What are your thoughts on that?
You know, being a Texas native, I got to go with Texas. But that's not to say nothing bad about the rest of those states. They got big time talent in each state. You know, it just Texas is so big, and if you even go to the smaller schools, that's where I'm from, a small town. On Friday nights, there's nobody in that town. You know, it's just so big. The football is so big here, and so Friday night lights is like Sunday night football around here. And so we take it real serious. And so when you coming from where I came from, we didn't have a lot of people that was like, you know, doing player development or, you know, training or this and that. We got it in the playgrounds or on the basketball courts or whenever we could, you know, pick up a football and go. That's how we learned what we learned. So, but I'm always pick Texas, being that I'm from Texas. But like I said, them boys from Florida are good, California are good, Georgia's pretty good too. But I'm always go Texas.
Absolutely. And you mentioned the great point that football in Texas is up there with God in terms of importance. Doesn't exceed it, doesn't match it, but it is close. Yeah. Obviously, with so much emphasis on the game, do you think that made you a better football player?
Yeah, just seeing the people around me, I know if I wanted to play this, then I had to either be on their level or close to it. And so growing up, I was always the small kid, you know, going into high school, I was like 5 foot, 95 pounds. So, but I was really quick. I was really fast. So that's what separated me a lot. And so I had to learn how to use my strengths against everybody else, you know. So being a small guy, you couldn't tell that I was small if you see me play. And it shows on film when you watch it. But I just had to, you had to have a mentality when it comes to this stuff right here. Well, we're right here, actually, when it comes to playing sports and football or whatever you want to do. And then I just had a big heart, and it helped me along the way.
Yeah, you brought up a great point about having that mentality. But when you hear a lot of those attributes, fast, quick, great speed, you hear them on the offensive side of the ball. Obviously, you played cornerback. What attracted you to that position, and what made you become a DB?
Well, that's crazy that you asked that, man, because initially I didn't even like defense, man. I was more of an offensive guy. I was so fast and so quick. And so being that I didn't get any scholarships coming out of high school, I went to Navarro, and my coach actually made me love defense, made me love cornerback. So going into Hawaii, I was only 2 years into playing corner, so I was really new at it, and I just so happened to be really good. So when I first got there, like I said, I walked on, and my first day of practice, I had a really bad practice, man, like bad. And then my coach told me, he was like, I was told you was pretty fast and pretty quick, but I don't see it. And he said, and I quote, if you was on fire, I wouldn't piss on you. I was like, golly. So, you know, for me, I knew I had a bad practice. I'm my own biggest critic. And so I went to my dorm room, and I did the technique that he showed us that day. And so I did it in the hallway and in my room. I did it in the shower. I probably dreamt about it. And so the very next day we had a practice, and I didn't allow anybody to catch a pass on me the whole practice. And he told me at the end of practice, by the end of this week, I'll be on scholarship. And I'm just thinking that's something, he would say. And by the end of the week, I was on full scholarship.
Yeah, and obviously while you're at Navarro, you made a really big impact. One of the things that you also had to do at practice every day is cover one of the really great wide receivers in Hawaii history after the '07 season and into 2010s, which is Rodney Bradley, a guy that when you talk about speed, if he gets a lane, he is gone. What was that like?
Rodney was the quiet type, I know he was a quiet type, but he was always explosive. And so he played more of the slot. So we didn't go against each other as much as we did in Hawaii. And in Hawaii, we went at it a lot. But in Navarro, he's more of a slot guy. So I don't know if I don't have too many stories about me guarding him in Navarro, but in Hawaii, we got a lot of stories about us going each other.
Absolutely, and we're gonna jump into that when we talk about that later. Going back to Navarro, when you were there, obviously you had to walk on. It's a difficult journey not being able to go straight to a Division I college. Like you said, you weren't recruited; you had to walk on to there. Did that help you develop as a person, and would you like to change anything about that, or do you think that's what made you the person you are?
I wouldn't change it because it did mold me into the person that I was and I am, I should say. I wasn't given anything, so I had to go out and go take and earn every single thing that I got. And it made me much tougher and stronger about that, about me actually getting the scholarship and going to Hawaii and being able to play on TV in front of other people. So I love the struggle, I should say, because it molded me into the person that I am.
Absolutely, and you did have a fair amount of success as a team at Navarro. Am I pronouncing that correct? Navarro or Navarro?
It's Navarro.
No, gotcha. So can you talk about what it was like to win at junior college?
Man, well, from Marlin, I come from a winning program, so we was always used to winning. And when I got there, Navarro was not used to winning. Like they weren't used to winning like that. So the first year I played, we had a really good year. We made a bowl game. We got to play on TV against Georgia Military, I believe. And so coming from a winning culture in Marlin and trying to transform Navarro into a winning culture, which they are still to this day, was really huge. We had 5 guys on that team that was from my hometown, and we helped transform that team into, like, I wouldn't say a dynasty, but a really, really good junior college to go to here in Texas.
Gotcha. So I'm glad you brought that up because I want to talk about mindset. Now, as you were saying, in prep ball, you guys were essentially killing it, right? You go to a place that hasn't experienced that. They don't necessarily have that winner's mindset, you could say. I'm sure they want to win, but they don't know what it's like to be there. Do you think having that type of players like you and your fellow teammates really changes a team mindset quickly, or can you talk about that?
Yeah, we brought competition, and we used, like I said, we used to win it. So when we won in Marlin, we know we competed every day. Now we was friends and cousins and brothers or whatever off the field, but when you on the field, I'm trying to make you look bad, so I got to come with my A game every single time. We didn't sugarcoat anything, and our coaches made sure we didn't sugarcoat it. And so I think that mentality, that attitude that you have, and that breeds into the people around you, because they don't want you to make them look bad. So I'm gonna have to bring my A game every practice. So our practices was tougher than a lot of our games, and so that would made us a pretty good team.
Gotcha. So obviously you and Rodney win at Navarro, and then you both come to University of Hawaii. What was that process like, to the recruiting process, scholarship offers, visits, things like that?
The recruiting process, I remember my DB coach, Coach Curtis, he knows Coach Atkins. I was in class, he kept calling my phone, like calling. I'm like, why is he doing calling me in class? So when I got out of class, I called him. I'm like, Coach, what's going on? He was like, hey, would you want to go play in Hawaii? I was like, man, coach, stop playing with me. Like, I'm thinking he's joking. I was like, who wouldn't want to go? And he was like, well, they're looking for a DB, and I talked to the head coach, so we might have something for you. I was like, well, let me know. And so Rodney was actually on side of me when I got the phone call. He was like, I want to go. I want to go. I'm like, bro, you got to stop. I can't just tell you to go. And so the crazy thing, they was looking for another receiver. And so Rodney actually got his visit before me to go up there. And he went up there, and it's around like November, December-ish. And it's cold in Texas. And so Rodney went on this visit. He came back and he committed. And so he comes back in like a tank top and some shorts. Like I said, it's cold. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? And so he was like, man, I'm going. He was excited. I'm going. He said, man, you got to go. You got to go. You got to come with me. I said, well, I got to get my visit first. So when I come on my visit, Mouton was my host. And we had fun. You know, it rained for the most of the weekend. And it was my first official D1 visit. I had like a lot of teams that talking to me. And I think they wanted me to come in the spring, in the summer or something, but I was done with my school. So I was ready to come in January. And so so the moment I committed to Hawaii, then I had like, 7, 8, 9, 10 schools offer me right after that. But I was like, since they were the first to offer, that's where I'm going, So that's how that played out for me.
Gotcha. So I didn't know that Ryan Mouton was the guy that took you on your visit. Ryan Mouton is not a name that goes around lightly when it comes to University of Hawaii fans. He is arguably one of the greatest DBs of all time, if not second to Jarris White. What was it like to be with him in Hawaii, just cruising around?
It was dope. It was my first time. He actually played at Blinn, which is our rival school in Navarro, and I didn't know anything about him until I got there. So when he was a really dope. He was a really dope individual. Him, and then I met E-Rob. So E-Rob was from Navarro too, and so they was really I believe it was Mouton and Malcolm was his roommate at the time. And so we just kicked it for a minute. Went on the recruiting, like those little, I think it was like a little luau thing we went to, and they called me on stage, and he made sure they called me on stage. And so, but we had a good time, man. He was a really dope individual. He gave me some insight about the university, about the city, about the island, and how the locals was. And he didn't lie. Like, locals are really dope. Now, once they're your friend, they're your friends forever. So, yeah.
Yes, that is definitely accurate. So one of the things that Solomon Eli Mimian said when he took his visit, or when he was taking recruits for visits, is that he would try to avoid the facilities as much as possible, take you out to the beach because they were in a state of disrepair. They did use the Sugar Bowl money to fix it. Did they fix it by the time you came in, how was it when you saw it?
I wasn't big on how, I just feel like I was here to play football. I mean, I'm not here to critique nothing. I wanted to play ball. I was excited to be there. He took me around the campus, but it wasn't, so I was amazed just to be in Hawaii, so coming from Texas, we don't get that. We don't get a lot of beaches. We don't get a lot of, palm trees. We get the heat, but we don't get that other part, So I was just excited to be there and play ball. And I didn't really care about the facility like that, man. I was there to, get my education and play ball. I know that sounds like a cliche answer, but that's exactly what I came for. I mean, I didn't care about any other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You balled out during your time in Hawaii. You had 2 defensive coordinators. Of course, Hawaii high school coaching legend Cal Lee, who was your defensive coordinator in 2009, and now the Baylor head coach and national champion at LSU, Dave Aranda, in 2011. What was Cal Lee like as a defensive coordinator?
Cal was chill, man. He was laid back. He had a really good mind, a really, really good mind. I can hear his voice playing over my head. He was a dope individual, man. I love the concepts that we came up with. He was cool to talk to. It wasn't like he wasn't like some other coach at USC that it was tough to talk to. He come talk to him about anything. He gives some advice, see what you need to do. So Cal was a pretty cool coach.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, the change was made after 2009 to go to Aranda in 2010. However, in the 2009 season, Greg Alexander, you guys starting quarterback, was sort of balling out in the beginning of the season, gets hurt, I think, at Louisiana Tech, if I'm not mistaken. I think that man had like 9 leg surgeries. It was awful. Bryant Moniz comes in. You guys start going on a run, capped off by, I believe, beating Navy at home, and they were favored by like 9.5 points. What was that run at the end of 09 like?
It was good to build off of. I was hoping that we made it to a bowl game, man. I was really hoping we made it, but we lost. I think we lost the last game to like Wisconsin. I believe like it was like they beat us bad. But he came in, he gave us some much needed energy after losing Greg. Greg was big time, man. He was definitely, I think at the time he got hurt, he was like tops in like yardage, I believe. And I think Rodney was doing really good too. Like Rodney was like tops in like yards and touchdowns. I can't think of the top of my head, but I think it was like top 5 like yardage and touchdowns. But it was big for us. I'm sorry, it was big, man. But once he got hurt, man, it was a big blow, and we didn't know where we were gonna go after that. We lost that game against Louisiana, but I think we went on like a kind of like a little slump, and then we picked it back up toward the later end, and we had an opportunity to win a bowl game. Yeah, to be in the bowl game, we had to beat Wisconsin. So it was big. It was good to build off of. I know in the 2010 season I didn't play, but I did help coach. And I was part of some of the, I implemented some of the things in the game plan, especially against USC. So that 2010 season, I did not play, but I did coach on the home games, which was big for me. That's why I like coaching now, because of then.
Yeah, we're gonna jump into that 2010 season because that 2010 season was incredible. But before we do, I do want to talk about the Navy game in 2009, and the reason why is because Hawaii was obviously trying to make a bowl game, and they were on a run. You guys were on a run. Navy, right? Kenyo Matalolo, who's former quarterback, Ivan Jasper, OC, former Hawaii player, right? They're coming in a favorite. They're favored by like 9.5 points. They're expecting to blow you guys out. The triple option for them was unstoppable that year. You guys punched them in the mouth and walked away with a victory. What was that like?
It was crazy because I know Coach Aranda at the time. Coach Aranda was leading in the game plan that week for that, and he came up with a really good scheme that had us able to key on the keys we supposed to, and be disciplined, because playing those teams you have to be disciplined. The moment you're not, that's it. And as a cornerback, it was really boring that game because we don't get a lot of love. They like to run the ball, but we had to be on our P's and Q's because every now and then they raise up and throw the ball. So that game was really it was really disciplined game. It was boring for me, but we got the dub, which was really good, and we was the underdogs and we were able to win. So it was good for us.
Yeah, great win. Obviously, redshirt 2010, but you're part of the coaching staff. 2010, you guys win the WAC championship, double-digit wins, qualify for Hawaii Bowl. That USC game in particular definitely sticks out. Of course, there were some things that should have went Hawaii's way that didn't. I'm still, even, 12, 13 years later, still think y'all scored the touchdown at the end of the half. But that's beside the point. You guys punched USC in the mouth, without a doubt. That was Lane Kiffin's first year. He was pissed. Pat Hayden almost fired him on the spot right there, right? Offensively, you guys could not be stopped. Defensively, y'all was hitting them hard. What was that like?
It was crazy being on the sideline. I was before the game, I cried, man. That was I haven't missed football. Like, that was my first time not playing. And so when I got in the locker room and I was the only player that was not playing allowed on the sideline. And so I'm like, I seen my jersey. I sat in the locker and I cried, man, because I really can't believe I'm not playing. And so I just kept thinking, like, man, when I come back, it's going to be really, really bad for everybody. But I know that week coming into, I was helping with the game plan, and they used to run so comeback. They like comebacks, so they had a comeback and go. And so I was able to put that into the game plan for Coach Aranda and the whole defense. But USC, they was good. I'm not going to discredit them at all. They was really good. I think the amount of film that I watched and the coaches watched, we had them figured out. So I remember we had 64 plays on defense ran that game. We had 64 mess ups. If we could have cut that to like 5 or 6, cut it down to 5 or 6, we probably would have won the game. Because man, you taking me back, man. You taking me back but I remember vividly that game, man. It was a big game. We lost, but we definitely could have won. We definitely could have been in our favor.
So you guys definitely could. And the reason why I say that is because you guys literally, despite losing the ball game, you guys literally ended USC's national championship hopes in week 1. And I remember this because I was flying out to Vegas the next day. And of course, I was at the airport while the USC fans, and despite them winning, they were all dejected. No one was smiling. No one was laughing. They were all frowning faces. They knew it was over. That game exposed not only USC, but showed the offensive potential of the University of Hawaii. Of course, Rick Mackin made a change at the helm. OC Nick Rolovich, DC Dave Aranda came in. Greg Salas is the guy catch a ball and just whack somebody, and he was doing that to the USC DBs all day. Kilo Polaris displayed game-changing speed. That man could not be caught in open space. Alex Green became the Alex Green that we knew today. Brian Moniz definitely was balling out. You had to go against all those guys in practice every single day. What was that like?
I'm a competitor, man. So all those guys that you mentioned, you have to be on your A game at all times, because like I said, you don't want to get embarrassed. You don't want to get made look bad. So Keoloa, Greg, AG. Well, AG, that's my boy, but we didn't ever really get because he's running back. We didn't really tackle each other, but he was just as competitive as me. So was Greg, so was Keoloa, so was Rodney, Royce, all of us, but like I said, the more competitive you are with each other, that breeds into when you're playing against somebody. That's why I believe that it starts in practice. Now, practice is really huge. You come to practice to work. Like the practice should be harder than the game. And I think that's where a lot of success come from. Start from off season, the weight room, the off season, lifting weights and summer workouts and everything else. Competition. I hate losing. To this day, I hate losing. I don't care if I'm playing with my kids and we playing jacks or marbles, and I'm gonna win. Now, the day they beat me, then they earned it, So they earned the victory. But I'm not just gonna let anybody, just beat me, willy-nilly, none of that. But that comes with competition. So going against all those guys helped me out a lot. AB, Demetrius, all of us. We was really, really competitive, and that helped us out a lot.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that a little bit more about the great defense you guys had, because obviously you guys had game changers, Aaron Brown, who was drafted by the Rams, Corey Paredes, Mana Silva, one of my favorite safeties of all time. But Nick Rulovich's offense is predicated for his run and shoot version, pistol formation, ball distribution, and getting the ball out of the quarterback hands very quick. Ran a lot of wide receiver screens, so on and so forth. You mentioned all those killers: Rodney Bradley, Royce Pollard, Greg Salas, Kilo Polaris. Did you ever feel that offense could not be stopped when you guys played against other teams?
Yes. The run and shoot, to this day, I say that I don't care what anyone says. That offense is cheating. Like 100% is cheating. Because if a DB is off too far, he stops. If he's in, he goes out. If he's out, he goes in. So no matter what you're doing as a DB, he's going to be open because he's doing the opposite of what you're doing. And so they have, learning it, I think it's pretty hard. But once you got it down, it's not stopping. You can't stop it. It's hard to stop. Now I was able to have success in practice versus them because I knew it. And so I purposely played a certain way so they can run a certain route so I can jump it. So that's how I was able to do it. But a lot of people that don't know this won't be able to get it,
Yeah, no, you make a great point. The reason why is because when June Jones went to SMU, he did an interview about the run and shoot with defensive coach Bob Davie, former head coach at Notre Dame, and then he went to New Mexico. The run and shoot offense for a receiver can break off into 7 different route combinations for each receiver off of whatever read they get from the defensive formation or what coverages, so on and so forth. With that being said, you talked about forcing a receiver to make a decision this way and be able to capitalize on it. Was that something that you developed on your own, or who helped you develop your skills as a quarterback?
I'm a student of the game. So when I watch film, I just don't watch me, I watch them. And so me and Rodney was roommates. So me and Rodney talked back and forth. But I learned that on my own. And I just, I asked him questions and I asked Royce questions. And they just, pretty much confirmed what I was thinking. And so after I got that confirmation, it was just like, let's go. It's a light bulb. And so, but like I said, I'm a student of the game, man. It's not too many offenses that I can't recognize and route read. I know how to route read and figure things out just by watching film. My Navarro coach helped me with that, and Coach Aranda helped me with that.
Gotcha. So, with being a student of the game, and obviously you're a part of the coaching staff in the 2010 season, you guys knocked off Nevada at home. Now, this Nevada team that's their only loss of the season. That win helped you guys win the WAC that year. Also, that was Nevada's only loss, preventing them from going to a New Year's Six bowl game. Colin Kaepernick was the starting quarterback, but in Chris Alt's pistol system, I think Virgil Green was the starting tight end, had a long career in the NFL. What was that week like headed into the game?
It was big. We know we win this game, we at least tie, because I think Nevada beat Boise early in the season. I believe, if I can.
I believe they beat at the end of the season.
Yeah. So we knew we had a great opportunity. We controlled our own destiny. So just the people that's on the schedule, you got to beat the people that's on the schedule. So it was a big week for us. I always looked at Boise and Fresno as a rival, but this week it was like Nevada. We need to beat Nevada. So it was a big week for us, man. I think the game plan was really dope, and we went out there and we executed. And we did a good job.
Yeah, you guys did an incredible job. What was it like when Monticello picked off Colin Kaepernick to seal the game for you guys?
Electric. Like, I know I was hurt and I was jumping up and down. And so people was like, "You're not hurt." I'm like, "I am, but I don't care right now." But it was dope, man. I was overjoyed with that, man. That's one of those moments. I don't know if Mana cried, but I would have cried if I was him, because that was one of those moments that you dream of, game-winning pick or game-winning touchdown. That's equivalent to hitting that buzzer beater at the end of the game. So I know I would have cried if Mana didn't. But we was overjoyed on this sideline.
Gotcha. Yeah, and that defense really stepped up. And obviously, Dave Aranda, great defensive mind. You also talked about Aaron Brown, Monticello, Corey Paradise, that defense. What was it like to be a part of that defense and play alongside those guys?
It was good, man. Mana wanted to be, he tried to be Troy Polamalu. Like, in practice, he did everything that you saw Polamalu. That's why he ran wearing number 43 or number 43. But Mana was a big part of that defense. Corey was amazing. AB was amazing. Man, we had fun. Like, we knew the defense. Coach Aranda did a really good job of helping us, to simplify the defense to help us understand it. And they just went out there and played. The simpler it is, the more you don't have to think, and you can just go out there and just play. I think that what made that defense really good. The defensive line was really good. Linebackers played good. We had Rich as the other safety. You had Mana. You had Jeremy. You had Demetrius. We had numerous guys that was out on that defense making a lot of plays, man. And it was really big. It was really big that year. I was really happy to be able to be a part of that, to help coach them. And I think we led the nation in turnovers that year, or interception, I believe, that year. And so it was really good. I like that.
Absolutely. And you guys took that momentum from 2010. You guys went to 2011. Now you transitioned back to being a player on the field. You guys played Colorado, I think week 0, week 1. There's your first game of the season. Brad Moniz was unstoppable that game as a runner. Like, no one could touch him, no one could tackle him. I think he ran for like 3 touchdowns. What was it like to smoke Colorado in the way you guys did?
It was good. It was on ESPN. I had a couple nice little plays, but I also gave up a few plays that I didn't like. it's a few plays when I go back and look at that game, or when I did look at that game, I was disappointed. That was my first game back, and I was a bit rusty, but that's no excuse. But we had a really good game. I remember that's the game Coach Matt called 2 timeouts back to back. And they was like, well, I don't think this ever happened before. And he was chewing us out, but we got it together and we was able to pull out the dub. So it was big, man. Moniz, that was a good game for Moniz. And that was his own, he was even for the Heisman watch, I believe, throughout the year. But he did good. I was hoping that we got that, and that took us to the, later round so we can, make it to a bowl game and stuff. But it was a good start, I should say that.
Yeah, and Brad Moniz was on the Heisman watch. It definitely shot him up. Unfortunately, he gets injured, I think, at Utah State, out for the season. That's the end of his career. You guys end up going on slide. What was that like at the kind of the end, the whole season in general after Moniz gets hurt?
The quarterback, he's the leader of the team, so the backup has to come in and fill some big shoes. Obviously he's on the Heisman watch, and he did pretty good. It's just that as a team we didn't get the job done, and so I think that that was a big blow to the team, big blow to our season, pretty much. But we still had opportunity to make it to a bowl game if we had beat BYU in that last game, but we fell short of that. But losing Brian was big for everybody.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that BYU game because it was win and you're in at that point. And obviously that's your senior night as well. You guys did have a really good first half. It just didn't happen the second half. When you look back on your senior night, what do you think?
I wish we would have won. That's why I wish we would have won. It gave me another game. But we won. It was my I played it like it was my last game I was going to ever play. And I think I left it all on the field as far as like attacking the run. That was my first game they actually let me blitz. I've been asking for the blitz all year long too. And that was my first game they actually let me blitz. So it's sweet and sour for me, man. Like I said, it was looking back at it, I wanted us to win, but a lot of people don't get the opportunity to play on that level, play at this stage, play on TV. Even with the odds against us, I would if I got one more chance to do it, I'd do it again.
That's very fair. But in your senior season, you did make an incredible play on special teams at Louisiana Tech. You guys are smoking. I think it's like 34-17 at the time. They tried to, on like a kickoff, they tried to run like a reverse lateral. They mess up horribly. The ball drops. You pick it up, run it in for the score to just basically destroy every Louisiana Tech fan's heart. What was that like to make that play?
It was big, man. It's crazy because my family came to 2 games when I was in Hawaii, and both of them was Louisiana. And in 2009, when I played, I had like 4 pass breakups and 9 tackles. And in this game, I had my first touchdown, and they got to see it. So that was big for me because I scored, and they was like right over there on the sideline. They was able to see me, score. They see me play, they see me score. But what was going through my head, I was the safety guy. I make sure that if anybody gets loose or breaks, I go catch them. And just so happened that they had fumbled, and I don't know if you see on the tape, I pointed, and then when he fumbled again, I just went to go try to get the ball for anybody else, and I was able to get it and take off.
Yeah, you basically ended that game by scoring that touchdown. That was, I would say, the biggest highlight of your career at the University of Hawaii because of just the sheer fact that you ended the ball game, you scored a touchdown, you broke a bunch of people's hearts, and the several Hawaii fans, the Hawaii flags in Louisiana are going crazy. I love watching that video so much. You leave Hawaii in 2011, obviously graduate, go on to the next step. Then your head coach, Greg McMackin, gets fired. His entire staff gets fired. Do you have any thoughts about that?
Oh, man, it was tough for me, man. I to this day. I talked to Coach Mack maybe 3 months ago, but I love Coach Mack, man. He's one of my favorite people, and it was tough to know that everybody got let go. I know I wanted to, if I didn't make it to the league, I wanted to come back to coach on that staff to to help out and stuff, and But it was a sad day, man. Even when he gave us that meeting the day he was leaving, I think it was a lot of people with teary eyes in there, man. It was really sad to see him go.
Yeah, Samson Ongwa, who was a 2011 recruit, when I spoke to him, he said that Coach Mack told him, "My journey has ended. Yours is just beginning." Just kind of giving insight to the type of character and man he is. Do you have anything you'd like to say about Coach Mack, just as a coach, a mentor, or go more into detail on the person he is?
I have a story that I have a plenty, but I'm gonna tell you this story. I remember when I first got there. It was my 2009. Rodney and Demetrius was, we used to hang together all the time, and we was doing these meals. We had the meals, get to go in the cafeteria or whatever. And so I'm used to, you eat 3 times a day, and so we was eating 3 times a day like normal, but we had ran out of meals before, like right when spring break. So you got the rest of the semester, we can't get no more meals. So we was like, "Hey, coach, I thought this supposed to last throughout the semester." He was like, "You did." I said, "Well, I only have like 7 meals left for the semester, and it's like spring break." And he went downstairs and talked to whoever he was talking to, and whatever it was, I guess it was wrong. Something was wrong, and he made him fix it. So for me, Coach Mack was a player's coach. Anything that I needed from him, he tried to help, tried to assist, advice about being, just a man, being a man or being a football player, being a better person. He was able to help me along those ways. So I appreciate Coach Mack for all he did, man. Like I said, he's one of my favorite people.
Yeah, and Coach Mack, since leaving the University of Hawaii, he's really stayed out of the public limelight almost completely. Like the last article I've seen about him is literally in 2011. If you don't mind me asking, how has he been doing, and what is he really up to in retirement?
Well, I talked to him. Coaches, he's chilling. I don't know. I don't know if he's in Texas or he's in Nevada but he's been doing pretty good, man. I've been keeping up with him. I keep up with T Mac, and we'll talk every now and then. But Coach Mac, he just, like I said, he retired, man. He's just trying to live his life right now, and he's doing good though. He actually a couple years after I left, maybe 2014, 2015, right in that range. He came to Texas. He at least stayed. He was here, and I met him. He met my oldest son, and we actually got a cool picture, or whatever. So he met my oldest son.
That's awesome, man. It was such a treat to be able to talk to a guy who, Dave Aranda in DC, great defensive mind. Greg Mackin, he's a defensive mind who's been around a lot of great places. He was down in Miami when they were winning national championships and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
You also had Rich Miano as assistant head coach, Hawaii safety, guy that is really big on DBs. Having all those kind of coaches, what stands out to you about those mentors during your times at UH?
What stands out? Just the knowledge. That's a lot of knowledge you just mentioned. Being able to pick their brain, Coach Miano, Coach Aranda, Coach Mack, be able to pick their brain and see how they talk in the film and meetings. I found myself using some of the same verbiage that Coach Miano was telling us when we used to do the meetings and stuff and film. I found myself doing the same type deal. Coach Aranda is like a mad genius, man. I don't know. I don't know if I met somebody that's like him before. I count him like mega mind. It's like every time I come by this guy's office, he's watching some type of film and he's telling me this and that, and he got the raspy voice and it was just like, man, this guy knows a lot. You know what I'm saying? So he was able, actually the game we played against Washington, he was telling me about the certain way they run a post route. And he told me that one time, and I watched it a couple of times on film. And sure enough, they did. And I was able to cover it because based off what he told me, the alignment, I was able to cover that route. It's like the way they stem out and then go in, but they cut their splits down in order to do it. And that was one of their go-to big plays. And so they ran like 2 or 3 times that game and they never hit it.
Yeah, so obviously, if you look at what Coach Aranda's done since leaving UH at LSU, he had that great defense with a bunch of day 1, day 2 picks, right? And sometimes when you have that much talent, you get discredited for it. He goes to Baylor, right, with a team that he didn't do great the COVID year, obviously. But we talk about last year, Sugar Bowl champions, Big 12 champions, a defense with absolute incredible speed at different formations. Could you see Dave Aranda becoming the coach he is now? And was that always evident, or was that a surprise?
Yes, it didn't surprise me. Even when he was at Wisconsin and everywhere else, I knew he was gonna. I figured he was gonna get his break to be a head coach somewhere. I live in the same town where he coaches, and so I haven't met him since he's been here because I never see this guy, like never. I never see this guy, and he don't. I think I may have wrote him on Twitter, whatever. But I don't know if maybe he just has a Twitter, he don't use it. But I knew he was going to get a head coach job somewhere. It was just a matter of time. That guy, like I said, he's a mad genius, man. He knows a lot, and he taught me a lot.
Yeah, and it's so incredible to see all the coaches that you had and how much knowledge you got from them. Obviously, you took that with your attempts to go play at another level. What was that journey like through pro days, interviews, things like that?
It was a dream of mine to, obviously I didn't get to go to the next level, but it was a dream to be able to be in that situation. Just to, have the interviews, have the teams calling me and talk to me or talk to my agent at the time. The pro day was big for me. Just the training, like that was the first time I had somebody train me one-on-one. And man, I'm telling you, the knowledge that I gained from that, player development, the training aspect of it, it was like night and day. Like I didn't know that I could get this size, and then I got this size, but I was way faster than I was, and I was pretty fast, but I got way faster than what I was. I was like, so it was big for me. It was a really good experience, and I like the journey of it.
Yeah, and obviously you took what you learned doing that, and now as a coach and a part of player development, you're passing that knowledge on to the next generation. Mm-hmm. What advice do you have for the next up and coming players of football?
Listen, don't get stuck in your ways. You don't know it all. The coach is not going to know it all, but they're going to try to put you in the best position for you to succeed. A lot of times, kids are like uber athletic, and they feel like that's going to take them far, and it can, but it's limits to that because you're going to come to somebody that knows techniques, and those techniques are going to beat your athleticism. You know what I'm saying? Let your athleticism make the play. I was told, let your technique guard the guy, and your athleticism make the play. Simple. Go ahead.
What was that?
No, I said once I learned my first technique, I was able to see what when they told me later down the road, I was able to like, well, that makes a lot of sense because I just, like I said, I was 2 years in playing corner. I had no technique. I didn't know any techniques. And the one technique he showed me, I was bad at it until I actually studied it. And I was like, oh, this works. This really works. So I don't have to rely on my athletic ability all the time. I can just use that when it's time to make the play, or when the ball's in the air, or I'm making a tackle or whatever, or I'm avoiding a tackle. That's when my athletic ability come in. But usually, your technique. And so for the kids and generation now, just have an open mind and be able to listen and learn. The earlier you start learning techniques, the better you'll get at them, and the more you'll be able to add to your toolbox. A lot of people got winning one technique, maybe two, but if you being able to start younger, like now or whenever, add like 4, 5, 6 techniques to your craft, and now a receiver or maybe or a DB or running back, linebacker, defensive end, offensive lineman, you can hit them with so many things, they don't know what's coming. Now the floor is open for you to do anything.
And obviously, during your time as a player, you mastered that. Obviously, having athleticism, mastered technique, mastered the mental side of the game. Mm-hmm. when you talk to these kids, right, and you're trying to basically put that message in their ear and try to make it set home, do you think that these kids, what do you think separates the kids that are taking the advice to the kids that are able to use it to go to the next level? Like, what can
Uh,
they do to make sure that they absorb everything correctly?
so listen and apply. It's one thing to listen, it's another thing to apply. What I'm saying? Like, oh, I can, or a lot of people like, well, I heard you, but did you listen? What I'm saying? You can hear me all day, but if you're listening, then you'll be able to apply what I said and go about it. So the kids that's able to take what you say and actually do it, do what you said, will be the kids that would thrive and succeed. And like I said, I take player development really to the heart, but because a lot of teams will, like little league teams, let's say, they'll get the kids that's in the community, the best kids, and put them on one team, and then y'all dominate. But you're not really coaching these kids. You just got the best athletes in that position, and you just give them the ball, or you tell them to go make a tackle. I can take a kid that's not as good and develop him into that person that you see, like, how he get that good? He wasn't like that 2 years ago. Well, that's what happens when you work with kids. You know what I'm saying? Hard work plays a part in it. Your mental plays a part in it, and just encouraging kids. People don't understand that when you tell, a lot. Like I have my 3 sons. I have to figure out, like, a lot of times if you just tell a kid, good job, that's confidence in them that they're doing something right. And then when you tell them good job, then you say, hey, let's do this next time. And they're going to try their hardest to do it. So I think for me, I'm, like I said, I'm big on player development.
And obviously, you come from 2 different sides of knowledge. In terms of, one, you were a player, so you know exactly what to do. But 2, you're also a father as well, so you can bring that paternal role into your player development. Now, when you look at a player, right, who is committed, ready to do everything they need to do, who's ready to go and attack, what kind of advice do you give them about putting themselves in the best position, both on the field, in the classroom? They have a lot of things at their plate. How do you give them advice to make sure they get everything done that they need to get to the next level?
A lot of kids, let me say this. Keeping busy, like being in multiple sports. Where is it? It can be tennis, it can be soccer, it can be whatever, basketball, volleyball, whatever it is. But as long as you staying active, and the more the more you outside or you going places, and people going to influence you to do stuff. You got to have a mindset to say no. Hey, nah, man, I'm not doing that. For me, I didn't like to even do anything. I didn't mind going out to the party every now and then, but I was burnt out. I was burnt out, man, and I just like, I don't want to do anything that's getting me in trouble. I don't want to get in trouble by my mom and my daddy, and I didn't want nothing to ruin my chances. If I know I wanted to play in the league, I'm not gonna give nobody the opportunity to tear me down or you know what I'm saying. So I wanted to be, when you look at my sheet, all you see is football. It's no back here sheet. Oh, this guy got in trouble, or he had this with his grades. I wanted just football. This guy is really knowledgeable. He's really smart. He's a good kid. And go from there. Like, it makes things a lot easier, and you don't got to try to jump around hoops and loops with those trouble, those trouble incidents and stuff. And a lot of times, sometimes it may not be the kid fault, just in the wrong place at the wrong time. But I try to keep myself out of those things as much as I can. And that's what I was doing.
And you brought up a great point. Now, obviously, from what you just said, when you were growing up, you had a really stable home life. Mom, dad, obviously, you had your goals set, make it to the league, take care of the classroom, practice field, everything like that. For some of those kids who don't have that kind of support system to rely on, do you have any advice for them?
As far as advice from them, to they don't have like people at home to go to and talk to.
Yeah, like as you said that you were really focused on your goals because that's what you wanted, and also you didn't want to make mom and dad mad. Which I understand, because I wouldn't do nothing because my dad would probably just slap me. But that's how it was for us growing up. But for people that don't have moms, dads, families, so on and so forth, looking out for them, what advice do you have to those kids?
Find a teacher, man. It was a teacher or a coach or like a mentor or something that you can try to get with and stick by, to somebody that's doing trying to do better or has done it. Try to find that person to be able to pick their brain. Um, I didn't have I had my mom and my dad, but as I got when I left to go to Hawaii, I could just talk to them on the phone. And as I got older, I realized there's a reason why I'm trying to be a counselor as well. Uh, so I can be able to talk to those kids, and if they need some kind of father figure in their life, they can come see me as a counselor or a mentor or whatever, a mentorship program, a counselor program, whatever it is. You can come talk to me. You can come talk to the people that I'm affiliated with to get those things hashed out, because mental health that plays a lot in mental health. Like I said, I'm passionate about player development, personal development, whatever it is. I'm passionate about it, and I want what's best for the youth, because if we all say that the kids are our future, why not instill the best we can in these kids? So therefore, we all have a better future. Them, us, we're gonna be old and gray one day. We're gonna look for those kids that we didn't help grow. Like, man, I sure wish they would have, they would listen, and they know this is not right for us, but well, we didn't try to teach them the knowledge that we've gained. And so that's on us. So we got to be able to give back. More people need to give back. And I said, like, for the kids, they try to test themselves with somebody that has been there before, if you have the opportunity to.
And you brought up a great point, because I've experienced it when I went to college. You experienced it when you went to college. When you're away from home, right? Mom and dad ain't looking over your shoulder 24/7. You can put yourself in really bad situations. What advice do you have for young athletes or just young people in general to avoid putting themselves in bad situations?
Surround yourself with like-minded people, or surround yourself with the environment that you don't want to be tempted to do those things. Like I said, a lot of times, sometimes you end up in the wrong place at the wrong time. But a lot of the people that I hung with, they'll tell you, I wasn't a big go out person. You'll see me every now and then, but I wasn't a big go out person. I had fun just being me. I'm a naturally goofy person. So being around me, you're gonna laugh all day long. So we're gonna have a good time. We don't have to go out and drink, or we want to go out and do this and that. Just being around me, or just being me, I can have fun. And so I would tell those people, just your environment can make or break you. You can become a product of your environment if it's a really good environment or it's a really bad one. Or you can just nah, I think that ain't a good idea. Just make better choices, and peer pressure is real, but you have to have a strong mind to be able to say, nah, I can't see myself doing that, man. Y'all go right ahead. I'd rather do, other stuff, go play the game or go work out, go read a book or whatever it is. Just, do something other than they put yourself in a bad situation to embarrass yourself, embarrass your family, and embarrass your teammates or your coaches.
Yeah. And obviously, you've carried that mindset throughout your entire life. Now, the new goal, not the new goal, the new thing that is number one on your priority is family. Obviously, be a father to your three kids. How do you think that mindset has helped you be a good father?
Uh, that's a good question, man. It's just, I want my kids to be better than I was in every aspect, as far as is school, sports, whatever it may be. I want them to be able to exceed further than I ever did. If I was a straight B student, then I want them to be straight A's. Yeah. If I graduated 3 times, I want them to graduate 4 times. If I made all district in high school, I want you to make all state or whatever. Maybe. I just want them to exceed more. And I feel like I said, the knowledge that I've obtained over time, I can give them. And then I try to have their environment as the best I know how to. Like I said, the kids can become a product of their environment. If they're around a really good environment, and the people that's around them are loving and caring, then they will grow up to be, more so that, I know they can transition to be their own being, but they're more so follow your footsteps, if them the right footsteps to follow.
really big footsteps for them to follow. Obviously, having a father that went and played at two different colleges, had that great transition into being a player development coach, college graduate, so on and so forth. Now your next journey is coaching, right? So I want to take this opportunity to talk about just your mindset when it comes to coaching, defensive philosophies, so on and so forth. I'm gonna kick it off with the first question is when it comes to a coaching career, where do you want to go in terms of you want to be a position coach, would you like to be a coordinator one day, maybe a head coach, or what's the goal for you?
All of the above. Like, I don't have a limit. I don't like to set limits because every limit that somebody has put on me, I've blown out the water. And so I want to be able to, one day if I want to go coach, go coach the position coach or be an assistant coach, or be a defensive coordinator, I want to be able to do it all. I feel like that I'm an open book. I love to learn, especially, when it comes to football. So if somebody's willing to be like, hey man, I want to give you a shot at coaching, they won't regret it. They won't regret it. I tell you that. I have an excellent memory. I don't forget nothing. And so I feel like that takes me a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Now I want to put you in the hot seat. I will put you in the defensive coordinator's chair. You're the new defensive coordinator of whatever team. What kind of defensive scheme are you running, or are you gonna tailor it to your personnel? And if you do, how would you tailor it?
Yeah, you definitely gotta, look at, your personnel and who you have, because I can have a scheme in mind, but I might not have the personnel to run it. So I can't force those upon the kid, because those kids won't be able to strive in it if they're not able to do it. Now, as a player's coach, I can in the offseason program, I can put them in situations to develop that kid into my scheme. So if I'm first starting off, I'm gonna have them. I'm gonna adjust to the player, and then when the off season comes, I'm gonna try to get them accustomed to how I want them to do certain things and have them working on certain things, and so we can go for it like that.
Excellent. Now I want to compare schemes. I want to get your thoughts on it. 4-3 versus 3-4. Which one do you prefer and why?
Oh man, it depends, man. I'm gonna say 3-4. I think you can kind of generate a little bit more pressure with the 3-4. And I like pressuring the quarterback, confusing the quarterback. So I'm gonna say the 3-4, but the 4-3. For me, I probably would run both. I'll be honest with you. It'd be some games I'll be a 4-3, sometimes I'll be a 3-4. But that's a tough question, man. But it's really good.
I'm gonna put a couple of these questions out there. I want to get your thoughts on it. Or I'm gonna put a couple of these statements. Some of these statements I believe, some of them I don't, but I want to get your thoughts on it. A 3-4 defense is only effective if you have a really good outside linebacker and a close in terms of how good he is, second outside linebacker. What do you think about
that? Yeah, because I'm gonna say yeah, because an outside linebacker is one of those guys that can come off. It's like another defensive end, and so that's essentially what those outside linebackers are. They're like defensive ends. They can stand and they can also cover. Because you have your D tackle and you have your ends for the 3-4, but most 3-4 teams, speaking in the league, they have really good outside linebackers. It's not a lot of teams that have played 3-4 that outside linebackers are not good. So
I mean, there's the Atlanta Falcons, but that's a different story because they're out 3-4 right with Dante Fowler Jr. on the outside. I just want to put that out there because I've seen teams run 3-4 defenses with outside linebackers that aren't up to par. And
Dante Fowler had a bad season last season. I think when he played for the Rams, he was pretty decent. He wasn't a Von Miller type, but he had a decent season. But and they also, who's the head coach last year?
Arthur Smith.
Yeah. So I think yeah, you might have gotten with this Atlanta Falcons. I don't know who their defense, who the outside linebackers are right now.
I think they drafted the guy from Penn State, Benike. I'm gonna mispronounce his name. That's beside the point. But that's a very interesting take. Now, how about this? When you run defense against a no huddle offense, let's just say Tennessee Volunteers, for example, right? That hypo system. All right. The only way to be able to stop it is to do press coverage. What do you think about that?
That's not the only way to stop it. You have to have a base coverage. You have to have base coverage. So if you know a team is running hurry up offense, or maybe that's something they didn't tell on film and they just spring it up on the sideline, the adjustment is, hey, listen, they do hurry up, we're gonna have a base call, we're gonna play it. For instance, if they come out and 3 receivers, a tight end and a running back, hey, we're gonna run it would be cover 4 base or cover 3 base. Hurry up offense, play it. And then you got your D tackles, wherever your call is, you got your ends playing the way it's supposed to, your tackles playing, your linebackers playing, all on the same page. So I don't think press coverage is the only way to stop it. You can stop it with that, but there's other ways to stop it. As long as you have like a set call and go. Now they're like, well, that's the same call, this and that. Well, they're running, they have a certain amount of plays they can run. They can't open up the whole playbook and run her offense. If that's the case, they just get in huddle. So they're limited to the plays they can run, and so are we. But you can also, hey, while they're trying to look to the sideline to get their play, they can look over here, hey, we can run this blitz while they would, you know what I'm saying? You still have an adjustment to what's going on.
Gotcha. What are your thoughts on the 3-3-5 defense?
I got mixed emotions in that, man. I got mixed emotions because to me, I don't know. It's mixed emotions, man. I don't know. A lot of coaches will tell you this is good. Some coaches will tell you bad. But I have to do more studying on the 3-3-5 before I can give an honest opinion about it, because it could be a really great defense. It just depends on your personnel, I guess, and how you're trying to run it.
Yeah, that's a very good point. All right, shut down quarterback, or let's just say shut down safety. What would you rather have a better player at, safety or cornerback? Any defense you could
run. Man.
Or how about put it like this? Deion Sanders? Or I take that. Let me rephrase the question. Charles Woodson at cornerback, Charles Woodson at safety. Because he played both in his career.
He played both. I'm gonna go Charles Woodson at corner. What he did in Green Bay is crazy.
Yeah, his defensive player of the year season was.
Yeah, what he did in Green Bay is crazy. So I'm gonna go corner. I play corner, so I'm gonna always lean toward the corner route. But if you have a safety like Ed Reed back there, he can change the game by himself. The Baltimore defense was always good. Don't get me wrong, but Ed Reed was Ed Reed.
There's a reason why he's a game changer.
Yeah. So I mean, even like Charles Palomalu, you know what I'm saying? Like the Steelers defense was good, but you got Palomalu. So it was, you always got a chance. Palomalu was either in the box or back. And Reed was center field extraordinaire. Like if you throw this ball, I can be right here right now. When you throw the ball, I can be right there in the heartbeat. So it really didn't matter. So but I'm gonna go with corner, man, because you have somebody like Deion Sanders or the real Reeves that can take the number 1 receiver and take him out the game and force you to, pretty much left-handed. You know what I'm saying? If you got a Devontae Adams out there and you got the real Reeves, and Reeves just takes him out the game. Now you force Aaron Rodgers to be able to use his other weapons, to beat you.
Yeah. You make an incredible point, especially when you run a lot of plays where it's one-on-one coverage. For example, Jerry Glanville ran the blitz defense, and Deion Sanders was on an island for like 4 years while he was in Atlanta. So if you can have that, that's such an incredible tool in your toolbox. Now there is obviously all the coverages, but there's one that is very controversial because of risk reward, and I want to get your thoughts on it. What do you think about running cover 0?
I don't mind it. But like I said, I'm not gonna run it the whole game.
Yeah, of course not.
Yeah, I'm not gonna run it the whole game. But you gotta be able to pick your poison with that. You gotta make sure you got some good blitzers, you time it right. A lot of times we ran cover zero a few times, but we had keys to know, like a lot of these quarterbacks, a lot of these centers, they have tails. And Coach Aranda was really good at finding. He's really detailed. He's really good at finding your details. So I remember one game we came into, we knew exactly when the guy was gonna hike the ball because of he'll make his calls and do what he got to do. He'll say hot whatever, but when he touches his towel, that's when we know the ball is coming. So if we disguise him, that's when we'll come out of disguise into the blitz. And so I don't mind cover zero, but you got to pick your poison when you do it. And as a corner, I'm always going to choose man coverage because I get a thrill out of shutting you up. So I like it.
Gotcha. And yeah, definitely you have that one-on-one. There's nobody that can help you out. If he goes by you, you can't blame anybody else, anything like that. Now, I want to talk about the pros for a little bit at the cornerback position. I want to get your thoughts on it. Trayvon Diggs is very controversial. Obviously, led the league in interceptions by a wide margin. People are giving the stat of he gave over 1,000 yards as a corner. Personally, I think he is one of the best corners in the league. He's not top 5 yet, but definitely top 10 in my opinion, and he's only going to ascend. What do you think about Trayvon Diggs?
Diggs is he's young. He's still learning how to play corner. He was a receiver, so he's still learning. For him to get out there and grab 11 picks this early in him learning to play corner is huge. I don't think people understand how huge it is, how big it is to get 11 picks. Like those picks wasn't like punt returns he's just catching. He was actually, jumping routes, going after it, reading routes, picking the ball off. Sometimes he probably baited a few guys to throw it. So he did a really good job. Now with this coming up, I'm a Cowboy fan, so I watched almost every single game. And so with this season, I think what Diggs should focus on is the technical part of it. Let's guard the person with his technique and then let his talent make the play. So last year, I think he relied on his talent making the play a little too much, but got him in trouble. That's why he gave us so many yards. He was always looking back at the quarterback, which can get you in trouble as a DB. Now, you're allowed to look back in a lot of zones, but if you're beat, they're not going to throw the ball to you. They're going to throw the ball to the receiver. Right. And so I think, like I said, I think he's the top 10 corner. Depending on how this season goes, I'll catapult him into the top 5. But number 1 corner right now to me is got to be Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, I don't think that's any question. I mean, obviously, every DB gets beat. It's the nature of the game. And obviously, people want to talk about what happened against the Bucs. Obviously, Mike Evans beat him for the touchdown, things of that nature. But when you talk about his whole body of work, I don't think there's anybody better in the league right now. I do have Jair Alexander at number 2. I have AJ Terrell at number 3. What do you think about my top 3 list?
You can't really go wrong with that. I would say Tre'Davious White. He's good too.
Yeah.
You can't leave him out. AJ Terrell, he had a really, really, really good season last season. I want to see what he's gonna do this year. I'm more of like a consistent guy. Like if you give me 1 year, that's cool. If you give me 2, then we can start putting you in that top range. It's about consistency because everybody can have a good year and then boom, you catapult yourself into this echelon the first year and they were like, oh, this and that. And the next season you plummet. You jump the gun too much. So you give me about a good 2 years of doing what you're doing, then I can start talking to you about it. But he did have a really good year, and I'm excited to see what he's gonna do this year. I like when he's a cornerback. But Jair, man, he's really good at what he does.
Yes. And it's going to be very interesting to see the Packers secondary come next season. Obviously, I believe they start Rasul Douglas, who had a breakout year last year. Eric Stokes looks to be that dude from the University of Georgia. Obviously, his rookie year was last year, and obviously Jair CB1. So that's going to be very interesting to see. As we wrap this up, I just wanted to ask you one quick question about your time at UH on special teams. In 2011, you had the late great Dick Tomey as your special teams coach. Can you talk about him for a little bit?
I love Coach Tony, man. he was very energetic, man. He was big on being technically sound on, special teams. He called it this. We had different names for each one of them, like strike force or something like that. I can't like the punt. It was like the deltas and like different names. I can't remember all the names, but he had like different names for him. But he was an exciting coach to play for, man. He was big. I was petitioning the whole year to put me back there on kick return and punt return, and he did. He eventually put me back there on kick return. The last two games against Tulane and then against BYU, I got some kick returns against those two teams. And on punt return, he put me back there against UNLV. But man, trying to catch punts over there in Nevada is different. And so, but yeah, playing for him, man, it was really, really an honor to play for that guy. He was really, really smart, really energetic, and he will be truly missed.
Yeah, absolutely. And two last questions before you go. Last one about your playing career. You bring up that Tulane game. That's the game you got your interception. What was that like?
Finally, I've dropped a few picks throughout that season. I was hitting the ground about, but the crazy thing about that interception, it was like one of the harder interceptions, and I busted my helmet. I didn't even know I busted my helmet that game until the Monday we came in, and they was like, "What happened to your helmet?" I'm like, "What do you mean? It should be in my locker, right?" "No, your game helmet. It was busted in the back, so when I hit the ground, my helmet busted." I didn't even know. Didn't feel anything with all this dang on hair. And so, but I was like, finally, I finally joined the party. Everybody in the secondary had picks except for me. I did a good job of covering people, but I either didn't get any throws, or I knocked them down, or I dropped a pick. So that was my first pick, and I was excited.
Gotcha. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on the show. Before we head out, do you have anything you want to say to any of the UH fans or just people watching in general?
Just keep your head up, man. I know right now we in the transitional phase, and but I think things will get better. Hopefully Timmy can come through and develop these guys the way he wanted. And I'm looking forward to this season. I hope I can catch some games, man. Being out here in Texas, it's so hard to watch these games, and then they come on so late. Y'all like 5 hours behind us, so it'd be tough to try to stay up at night. I see what the struggles my mama went through trying to watch me play, but man, it'd be tough, man. Especially when you gotta go to. I work on Sundays, so I was like, man, good night. Harris, can I just stay up? Can I play like a Friday or something? But it's okay. Like I just hope that we come out and we make a bowl game this year. I know it's probably like a huge statement, but I hope we make a bowl game. Yeah, man, I just stay positive with the whole program situation, man, and hopefully we can have a good season to put some smiles on those faces in the stands.
Well, again, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. I want to thank everyone for watching. And before we head out, just more UH content is coming. Obviously, I'm doing like University of Hawaii top 100 players of all time. Of course, thank you so much again for the great insight. It's always fun to talk with the players, see what their time in Hawaii was like. And I wish you and your children the best. Obviously, they go on their athletic and academic careers. You going on your coaching career, and it's just been a lot of fun.
All right, man. I appreciate it.
All right, well, take care.